Welcome back, people. Welcome back. I guess we're waiting on Jason. If not, then that's perfectly fine. You're here with us, and we can get back to this.
We don't need him anyway.
Nah. Shout out to Jason though. Jason and the coach, Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. Obviously, like I said, with the coach. So shout out to those two. You got my guy, Mr. Students 360 himself, Mr. Chris Mason, who's going to be out of town for a while. So definitely want to get a video in. That's why we're doing it, tonight, opposed to doing it later this week. Maybe we'll come back later this week, me and just Jason. But regardless, Horns Down Podcast for now. That's where we're at. Sooners Intel, you already know this is streaming on also Sooners 360 as well. So go ahead, like on both channels, subscribe to both channels, do all those different things. But look, people, we're gonna get right to it. So obviously, the ups, the downs, the woes, the wins, the ebb and flow of this whole recruiting thing. It seems like it's either you're sinking or you're swimming. So, people, for the last month and a half, I know for sure Chris Mason and I have been telling you guys it's a change in philosophy. Going from the Lincoln era, where you look at USC right now, they have 20 plus recruits. You know that's not going to last. They're literally taking loans and all the rest of that. It's a whole story in itself. You'll have to just kind of bear with us. But at the same time, people are used to that era where we're getting all these big names that are in on campus, that are in, that are basically giving verbals or whatnot. And then also, with BV and all of them, usually around this time, you're kind of already, having a full class and filling out your class, which you have a bunch of kids and a bunch of really good kids that a lot of people want, fans included. And when I say people, I mean a lot of there's a lot of college football teams top notch that want some of the kids that we have. And so for right now, Cruel is still on the board. We still have a hell of a lot of people. But for the last month and a half, I know Chris Mason has been telling you guys, one, it's the July scaries right now. People are wanting to try to fill their classes as soon as they can, to get ahead of this whole settlement thing, all the rest of that stuff, try to figure it out because money's going to be going. And then two, we've been telling you for a while now, Nagy is not going to just go out there and spend money. If he believes that, hey, Braxton Lindsay or this kid right here have this valuation and they're not worth going over that valuation, projected money, I guess if you want to call it, that then they're not going to budge. And I mean, he's being disciplined about that. And I know it's not necessarily pizzazz and all the rest of this stuff, but I mean, hell, 3-4 years ago, we were sitting here thinking that, BV was just going to bring in a plethora of defensive recruits or whatnot. And you saw that it took time and he was patient with it. And then everybody was really reluctant to accept the whole recruiting philosophy that he was bringing here from Clemson. So I think that it's worked out pretty much. Maybe not to the point where, there's been some missteps where we've had some games where we should have won, we should have went 11-1, 12-0 that year that we did in that last year in the Big 12. And then also, last year was last year. So I'll say that. But at the same time, we have a lot of names that, stayed and that BV has brought in that have become really, really crucial contributors to this team. So with that being said, I'll stop talking. I'll pass this over to Chris Mason because I know a lot of people are just wanting to know what the F is going on with OU recruiting right now.
Well, it's never one thing, right? I mean, everyone always wants to think that there's a problem and there's like one solution to it. And that's never really the case, right? So you lost Jacob Eberhardt, and you lost Jacob Eberhardt in an old-fashioned mama wants the kid to stay home recruiting battle. And she put the kibosh on OU. Mom did at the 11th hour, literally like an hour before he announced, basically said, I want you to stay home. I want you to play at your dad's alma mater. His dad passed away, I think, a couple of years ago. So you've got all those emotional things pulling in, and you got mom saying, I don't want you going far away. Now, I never meant anything to me in terms of my college choices, but there are people that there are kids that, want to stay close to home. Those emotional. This is an old school recruiting beat. OU's lost players like this for years through this process. They've lost kids. I could go all the way back to, there's like a tight end we lost to Arizona State that went on to have a big career with the Raiders from Arizona State. We lost. We've lost lots of kids like this way. Who's the Ravens defensive end, the Hall of Famer guy from Arizona State? Early 2000s, Chris. Who am I thinking of? He's from the Ravens, All-American, Hall of Famer guy. I can't pull his name. OU was set to win that recruiting battle.
Yeah.
And then his mom at the last minute pulled the no, you need to stay home. You need to stay close to home, and OU lost them at the last minute. This is an old school recruiting loss. Now the SMU stuff has been a little weird. Some of the other battles have been distance battles, which OU has. You're fighting for a guy who's in St. Louis, and Illinois is trying to put a big rush at the end. Illinois has got all the local advantages from that. For those of you that basically, St. Louis is basically in Illinois for all intents and purposes. So from that perspective, it's been a death by 1,000 cuts a little bit in terms of different ways of losing guys. Who am I thinking of? It's Terrell Suggs. Terrell Suggs was all set to be a Sooner, and then his mom at the last minute said, "No, I need you to stay home." And from that perspective, so. That's the kind of thing that's happened to OU all the way back in the early Bob years. It just seems like sometimes it doesn't work in OU's favor. If mom loves OU, she lets the kid decide and they go elsewhere. If mom, if OU's leading everywhere else and mom says, no, I want you to stay close to home, that's where we tend to get hit. But overall, losing Dandridge to Georgia, you can't really argue with that. If you're asking me the 4 hits that are like the biggest hits, it's really losing Danny Odom to Nebraska, not locking that thing down, the talented cornerback from Florida. It's the Braxton Lindsey BYU thing, not locking him down. These are kids who've silently committed to OU.
Oh shit.
Lots of these guys were silent commits to OU, and then losing Tavion Branch, and then probably I would say losing the Dickerson kid to Kentucky. I just don't know what and that's more of those. That's more of what the hell are you thinking, Dallas Dickerson? Because SEC media. We were talking about SEC media days coming up. Kentucky's going to be picked last on most people's ballots in the SEC. They're going to be below Mississippi State. Mark Stoops is going to be looking for a new job. So I have no idea what Dallas Dickerson is thinking going to Kentucky, who doesn't throw the ball anywhere. All their best wide receivers transfer out to try and find a football. So, it's but even that, okay, but but is he getting that? But is he going to get any of that money before they fire Mark Stoops?
Still July.
So those are the players that I'm kind of like, okay, why do we lose? I do think Nagy has to fine tune a couple of things in terms of how he works some of these kids in terms of their silent commits, and also what money OU is paying and make us less predictable in terms of being outbid. And that's something he's got to learn and figure out. But the big thing I would tell you, if you're worried about recruiting, this is a binary process that we're about to have this fall, right? Okay. Brent does well on the field, saves his job. OU looks good on the field. Kids will flip.
Of course.
Switch over to OU. And the class will look you'll close on guys like Cruel, Davion Gross if he's still out there and he hasn't committed to OU. And you'll get a flip about 5 to 10 kids, right? somewhere in that range. You'll get the class will be in the top 15 range.
Yeah.
If that happens. If that happens. Right? If it doesn't happen, BV's fired. So everything's thrown out the window anyway. So,
is he fired though, okay, Chris, you think?
Well, I mean,
what's the number that gets him fired?
You said what?
What's the number that gets him fired?
I think another 6-7 season, another 6-win season probably is. It could be the nail in the coffin. It's just one of those things where, I mean, they put the building blocks up there to pretty much make him successful. To me, and Jason,
put up Lega's post, and we'll get to that in a sec.
You said what?
The Robert Welger guy. Let's put up that post for a second and we'll talk about that. Okay.
Go ahead.
But I think so. Jason, I think 7-5. It's depending upon what the 7-5 looks like. Could see Brent shut out the door.
I don't know, man.
If it's a good 7-5, he's
What's
fine.
a good 7-5 though? What does that mean?
It means you're not embarrassed in any of the football games. It's close games. You have some injuries that have hurt you, key injuries. You've lost Mateer for a couple of games, things along those lines, and you're in every game, and it's the wear and tear of the schedule.
But they've been in every game pretty much except for a few, save for a couple of games in these. And really,
they weren't in the Texas game, really. No,
they'd given up 16 yards after the first quarter of the Texas game.
Okay, well, I guess they
didn't keep it together, and they obviously, when you go 9 straight 3-and-outs because your offense is that bad, then yeah, it didn't look.
I guess they
probably should have put up 50 on them.
So optically, I guess it's just there's a good optic 7-5 and a bad optic 7-5.
I don't know that there is. To me,
maybe you're not. Maybe I'm.
You've had enough close games that you need to start winning those close games. So if they're in a bunch of close games and they're still 7-5, if we're talking about 7-5 being the number that gets him out, then I don't really care about the optics of it. If you're close,
I think losing close games is part of the optical problem too, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I think losing close games is bad. I don't think being in close games doesn't help you.
Yeah, I'm talking about something along the lines of where you're in every game, you're in fourth quarter games, maybe you lose an overtime game, maybe you're without Mateer for 2 games and you lose 2 close games and Mike Hawkins plays well, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? I think there's a continuum in there, but I think I'm with you. Generally speaking, I think Brent needs 8 wins to be safe.
I don't know that I believe that necessarily. What I was asking, the reason why I think that they don't want to pay him $35 million to walk and watch this roster that they have built. You say it all the time on the hook. They're there. Here's what I will say. I don't think that it's lining up to be schedule or no schedule. I don't know that there's any excuses for you being 7-5 at this point.
I agree with that at that point.
Okay. I mean, that's not a hill I don't disagree with you guys. That's not a hill I'm willing to die on at all. Really, I'm not. I
don't know that they want to fire him. I don't know for sure that 8 wins is really that number, but I think that if that's where we're headed with it, you got to be willing to sit there and say, okay, well, hey, we're willing to lose this entire roster that we know that they've built a good roster because these guys ain't coaching them up right. Well, who are you going to go get that's going to keep the roster together? That's a lot of investment that you've just thrown away, along with $35 million to.
Okay, all right. So let's get the Robert Willig here thing back up.
Here we go.
All right.
I knew that was coming.
All right. So you lose a kid to LSU. Okay. OU's lost kids to LSU for the last 20 years. You lost a kid to Georgia from Georgia. Really, how is that anything different? We didn't lose kids to Oklahoma State. We just let Oklahoma State have them. Okay. Well, the Illinois kid is from St. Louis. Basically, he's in. If you don't know where Champaign, Illinois is in comparison to St. Louis, take a look at a map. It's basically
Quad Cities and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically right there. Okay. And the kid's dad played at Illinois, and his dad passed away. So they played every old school recruiting legacy heartstring thing that they could. Right. The Kentucky thing
does a pretty good job too.
The Kentucky thing, I'm with you. Don't understand what Dickerson's doing. Don't understand that decision. BYU, the kid's LDS. What do you expect? What do you want from us? That's how they done. Jaden Petit choosing Wisconsin. Again, I'm with you. I don't know what the hell the kid's thinking, and he's making a terrible decision.
I think these are desperation moves of money that are. I mean, the
but let's talk about BYU. Let's talk Kentucky and Wisconsin. Those coaching staffs are fired.
But Chris Mason, this tells you something about those guys. It's not for those kids. It's not a relationship thing at all. It's about how much money you're going to give me. They'll be in the portal next year. They'll lose them to the same thing they got them with.
Well, if they even sign with those guys, if they even could get that portal money.
So
those portal deals, their NIL deals are dependent upon them signing with the schools.
Right.
If those coaching staffs are fired.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like you're talking about USC being number one right now. Are they number one at the end of the cycle?
No. But I want to jump in here unless it's Missouri. But no, what I was going to say is this right here. Guys, look, I think to really get down to the heart of it, I think what it is that it's not everybody. I mean, a lot of OU fans, the majority of OU fans right now with recruiting, because not everybody follows it as closely as some people on this panel do, or the others, the obvious people who follow it. Everybody, the majority of OU fans right now kind of sound like Sooners Cowboys. Sooner Cowboys, you're my guy. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Like the video. Regardless, the point is this right here is that
Star Watchers, man. Star Watchers.
I think that people need at least it's going to be a 2-year. It's probably going to be until after the 26th season until people can actually gauge and actually try to engage and say that they like Nagy's philosophy. It's an NFL model. A lot of people are not necessarily keen on it, or not necessarily liking it right now, but I think it's going to take maybe 2 years to really get.
You're not even going to really know if it works or not, right? Until a couple years down the line, right?
Because I think Nagy is like, okay, so we're getting the guys that we think are going to be what BV was talking about as far as those consistent guys. Those guys are just always playing at a consistent level, like maybe like a Matthew Nelson or so. Who knows? Maybe he becomes a superstar, but I'm saying he's filling out the roster with these really nice pieces that you could build on. But I think now he's trying to get that perfect mix of, hey, this kid has the intangibles that we want, but also has the ability to come day one and, challenge for a spot and be able to get on the field.
Yeah.
So I think that with those guys, he's trying to save spot and trying to save money. And also he's basing it off of the senior film. I've seen your junior film, but I got to see your senior film too. Are you going to play? Are you going to do all these different things? And so some coaches do that. I mean, I think a lot of us crucified Billy Napier for doing that whenever he went there, because he wanted new film, updated film on a lot of Florida players that a lot of people thought, okay, maybe that will set them back. But it looked like it's kind of back on tracks now as far as what he wants. But there's a lot of coaches that are doing that. There's a lot of recruiters who are doing that. So it's really based on that film. And at the end of the day, we still have a number of kids currently in this class and kids that we're projected to get still that have a chance to move up in the rankings, regardless of what's going on. But I think that's the heart of the problem.
Dropped 40 spots on Rivals.
Yeah. Well, our Rivals and On 3 are, they merged their rankings today. This is their first rankings, and the on 3 guy is saying that Cruel's 6'2", 223. Meanwhile, everybody I know who's seen him in person says he's 6'3.5", 235, 240.
Mm-hmm.
So
we just watched him whip the shit out of Felix Ojo,
who dropped 50 points himself, who dropped 38 spots himself, and he's now no longer a top 5 offensive tackle in the class.
Shocker. Big shocker. He goes to Texas Tech, and look what happened.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the first thing we need to just file away.
This is why we don't need to look at stars so much. Is the point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah, exactly. Just look at the film, look at the measurables, and see where you are. But the first thing we need to remember is that Brent had us conditioned that recruiting was really over like September 1st. We had our class. We were locked up for a player or two, right? He conditioned us to that calendar experience. So if that's the case, and OU adds maybe Davion Gross by September 1st, and the class is closed, then yeah, panic. But we now have a staff of evaluators that's going to do nothing but review film and review rankings. So not rankings, sorry, review film, review evaluations of where their guys are in August, right? We've got 7 guys in August who are not coaching our football team, not going to be coaching linebackers at 2-a-days, looking at practice film. Brent's staff is going to be coaching the football team in August. Nagy's staff is going to be evaluating kids' film, reevaluating kids' film, re-ranking them, assigning the kids, looking at new film, looking at kids that, okay, when we get their senior film, we'll make offers based upon X. They're creating a whole process around what they're going to do in August so that when recruiting kicks back on again for OU for the Michigan weekend, because you're not bringing anybody in for what's the first game, Illinois State? All right.
Oh yeah, Illinois State.
You're not bringing kids in for Illinois State. You're going to bring kids in for Michigan, right? So, and a lot of these verbals don't mean anything. I mean, they are paper thin. These aren't like, for the most part, the verbals that Brent asks the kids to do, right? Where he holds off. I mean, we could have taken any number of silent commits before, over the last month, but Brent wants them to go public before they count and all that. So, so there's any number of kids OU can and would be able to flip with a good on the field result this fall. And Nagy's going to identify new kids to recruit. He's going to identify kids to flip. What's the pressure point there? And he's also going to say, I've got 5 to 7 kids who, if their senior film is this much better, we're going to offer them this much money. So the point that we're trying to beat down is you don't offer first-round money to a fourth-round pick, okay? If the guy becomes a second-round pick, then you offer him second-round money. So there are players out there that OU just needs to see their senior film to make sure that they've hit that elite level. They haven't maxed out development-wise. They've improved since their film previously, because the camp stuff, we all laugh about Ojo getting beaten up in the camp stuff, right? But those camp drills are so weighted towards defenders that O-line is a team process. The one-on-one stuff for offensive linemen at the camp stuff has traditionally always been kind of unfair, right? So Nagy's not, if you look at the NFL Combine, guys blow up at the Combine all the time that don't move up in the draft, like. They're the fastest, biggest guy, and they still look like Tarzan and play like, Jane Pauley on film. They're just terrible. I mean, that's all. And those guys don't get drafted. We've seen it all the time, right? They don't get drafted. Or they get drafted in the 4th or 5th round, and then they're cut, in August off the NFL roster. So he's got a staff to look at senior film while Brent is just focused on improving the current roster, developing the current roster, which should hit the field running in September. And then, OU, then, Nagy, one of Nagy's is, Lake Dawson will come up to, Brandon Hall and say, I've got 3 safeties for you. It's like, this is a terrible analogy, but just bear with me, guys. What we're going to have this fall is, it's like going car shopping in my family, right? My wife doesn't really care what we drive. She only wants me to bring to her the final 2. I'll go drive 8 things, but she only wants the final 2. Bring me your final 2. Well, this is the bad analogy I'm going to look like. Lake Dawson's going to review film of like 10 safeties. He's only bringing the top 2 to Brandon Hall to recruit in the fall. We lost Eberhardt, need another safety. You don't roll back to Brandon Presley. If you didn't want him now, if you didn't want him 2 weeks ago, you don't want him now. I mean, that's just the way it is. Even if you could flip him from OSU. So that's what's going to happen is we're going to see new offers and we're going to see flip targets.
Well, speaking on
things along those lines.
Chris Mason, speak on that then. What the okay, because obviously the natural question is what's next? Who's next? What are we in store for? Who's up next as far as decision dates, and who are new targets that you can that you see OU getting in on?
Okay, well, the decision date, we're waiting on Davion Gross to just make a decision. Okay. And I think it's coming in the next couple of days. Everybody's hinting at it. All the predictions came in after everybody got conversations with him. So it appears to be coming, and it should be OU. But at this point, I'm gun shy like everybody else is in following recruiting. So it will happen though when I'm out of town. I can guarantee that. Just because the big commit will happen while I'm out of town. Just bank on that, guys. So sometime after Wednesday. So you have Elijah Golden announcing at the end of this month. That should be Notre Dame unless things have changed. And then you've got T-Ron Richardson at the end of August. He is the defensive tackle from Virginia. That looks like an OU win. But again, he's from Virginia, and the number one competition OU's fighting is Virginia Tech. So you got to go out of region to get the guy you want. So, that's the problem, right? A lot of these last minute decisions tend to be distance related, right? And you can't go back to these kids. Like there's no point with OU going back to Eberhard, right? Because you can't change the distance and you can't change the fact his deceased dad played at Illinois. It's done. There's no point. There's no point trying to flip him. Now, could you try and flip Jordan Clay? Absolutely. Could you try and flip the Balagon Ali kid, linebacker from Florida, who just committed to Auburn? Especially if we beat Auburn and Auburn loses to Baylor and they're on the path to Hugh Freeze being frozen out of the plains. Yeah, you go back to him. Could you go back to Jonathan Hatton? Yes. Could you go back to Dallas Dickerson or Craig Dandridge? Absolutely. If UGA's passing game looks as miserable as it has the last couple of years from the wide receiver development standpoint, and Mateer's slinging the ball all over the place, then yeah, you can go back to any number of players. Do you go back to KJ Ford? You certainly can. Certainly, if you invite him to the Michigan game as an unofficial visit, and you look great, and you decide you want to make a run at him, I think you can definitely make a run at him against Florida. There's lots of players out there. Do I think Nagy sees Tavion Branch's film and decides we're going to match Rutgers' number? I think that's a distinct possibility. And you go flip Tavion Branch.
Have you not seen Tavion Branch's film already?
Well, I mean, so the point is we don't know. What we don't know, Jason, is he may like Branch a lot, right? And he just needs the senior film to say, yeah, I'm going to push all in. I'm going to spend my money.
Kind of like with Patton. Kind of like.
Yeah, exactly. With Patton, with Clay, with a half dozen guys out there, all of a sudden you make the money basically equal. Rutgers does their usual dying fly routine. When the fall comes, they start losing commits to different people because everyone starts poaching them. So, you have a chance to maybe, and you decide that Branch is more important than you thought. Okay, I made a mistake this fall. I made a mistake leaving an opening for Rutgers. We should have offered him more and locked him down in June, right? And now we're going to fix that by offering him more, get him back on campus for the Michigan game or the Ole Miss game where, he can go see 20,000 bored New Jerseyans watching football in wherever Rutgers Stadium is, or he can come to Norman and watch 85,000 crazy people because OU's, 7-1 playing Ole Miss and is in a playoff hunt, right? You can get him back on campus for that sort of thing. So I think there's any number of options out there. Plus, so I can tell you, I followed recruiting forever, right? From 1985, Stacy Dillard signing with OU, number one player in America, to Mike Gaddis signing with OU back in the 80s, all the late 80s stuff, early 90s stuff. Cale Gundy, when he signed with OU, when John Blake couldn't find a quarterback and lost Chip Ambrose to Tulane, and then he ended up going to play baseball for those guys. So I followed it forever, guys. So there's names that always pop up, right? OU didn't sign J.D. Runnels until like the last day in like January, really. They didn't get Ryan Broyles until, again, the last day of recruiting. He went flip back and forth. Jeremy Beal, no one knew anything about Jeremy Beal, and he was a two-time Big 12 defensive end, was a fantastic player, didn't have an NFL career because he was a great college player. So there's guys OU can discover and add this fall. New offers, new film where OU says, this guy's fantastic. Who's been missing this guy? It's harder to do that at defensive tackle. I mean, the classic example is your basketball player who plays football for his first year, and all of a sudden you're just like, well, who's that tall, athletic, super long guy? Okay, offer him. That happens. Or sometimes you have, players, sometimes kids move around and get lost in the shuffle. We saw that with Brian Harris. He moved to New Jersey, from New Jersey to Florida, got lost in the shuffle his junior year. OU found him and said, whoa, this guy's fantastic. What are we missing here? Not missing anything. He's just undervalued, under-recruited. So there's a number of players whose names I don't know. I mean, there's some guys like, Bryce Gilmore, who just verbaled to Arkansas. He's a Calvin Thibodeau, another example. He's a guy, he's an offensive tackle from the Dallas area. I think he's from Prosper. I think that's still the greater Dallas area, which just seems to get bigger and bigger. He's verbal to Arkansas. I mean, Pittman or Stoops and maybe Levy are losing their jobs this fall. I mean, it's just a matter of their schedules are unbalanced, so they've got terrible schedules. They're not going to winning that many games. Some folks are going to pull the plug on coaches. So maybe you go back to him and say, be coached by Bill Biedenbaugh, and you pick up him. Maybe you go back to some of the SMU kids that if SMU struggles this year, which I think is entirely possible. Everything set up perfectly for them last year. And you go back and you try and flip some of them. Maybe you target some other kids that you find on film that you really like the McMorris kid from Norman North. Maybe Nagy just needs to see senior film on him and then make a big push and you flip him from Minnesota. And that guy's got all kinds of potential. He's 6'5", 255, 260, super athletic. There's any number of names. The thing you're going to have to just abuse yourself of is that Nagy does not, as he's told you in numerous times, does not give a shit what rivals ranks guys. It is immaterial to who OU wants.
So I'll jump in here and just say this right here. People in the comments are saying OU will be fine. And I trust that. I think right now, more than ever, what all three of us need, what everybody in the comments needs, we just need to see games. I think
we just need fucking football, man.
There's a lot of things that need to be answered on the field as far as is Mateer the truth? Is he really? Should we believe the hype? Is Arbuckle the guy that could lead us back to where we were offensively? At least a few years ago, right?
Go ahead.
I'm just saying it's just a lot of questions that we want answers to. Are we good enough to go out there and not only beat Illinois State, but can in those games of Illinois State,
you got them smoked in the first quarter and you get to play other guys?
Yes. Yeah. Can you please get those games over with to where we're not necessarily sitting there battling with people? Can we get to a point where we can go up and down the field on whoever we want? It's simple things like that. And I think that's what OU fans want to see the most. And I think that's what the recruits want to see as well.
Sure.
So,
Jason, I think if you could have done that last year, right? I mean, I think if you stick with Michael Hawkins, they end up winning 8 games last year. He's not turning the ball over at the rate that you had Jackson Arnold turn. Look, 13 starts, 12 fumbles, six interceptions. I mean,
yeah, and any respectable quarterback play, OU limps to 7-5 at a minimum.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that there's 5 games that you can
and you probably win your bowl game and you go 8-5 and momentum is completely different.
That's what I'm saying. And so to me, I even think that with this quarterback coach, you got an actual quarterback coach along with Arbuckle, who has a scheme that these kids can understand, that Bill Bedenbaugh can put together a blocking scheme for that'll work. And I think as long as they're healthy, I don't see any reason why. I don't believe that 7-5 and 6-7 or 6-6. I don't think any of that is really on the table. I just don't think it is. I'm not trying to push past 9-3 because I want to see them do it. Yeah. I think that if they don't reach that, I mean, save for the same amount of injuries that we saw a year ago, if they don't reach that 8-9 win season easily and be head, and I'm talking, you've got 3 games left and you're at 8. And you should win maybe only you win 1 or 2 of the last 3. But literally you could get to 10 and you have every right to get into the playoff. I feel like that's really where we should be. And if they don't get there, save for a bunch of injuries, I think that it's going to go back to, what are we doing situationally? Is Brent Venables not taking a step forward as far as his management of the game?
Jason,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I was just going to say, I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's as simple as this right here. I think that you have a perfect chance to start 6-0. I think you can go out there and
5-0. You have a perfect chance to go 5-0.
You have a perfect chance to go 5-0, and then you get into that rivalry game against Texas. And
I'm not giving the Texas game away. I'm just saying it's.
Yeah,
we've all seen weird shit. We've seen weird shit in Dallas, right?
In my opinion, you have a chance to go 6-0. I'll stay on that front. You have a chance to go 6-0.
Right. I'm with you there.
What you have to do as OU is, like I told you guys last year, look at the schedule and you say, look, when we get into the core, the heart, the toughest part of that schedule, which is the latter part, 3 games at a time. You should be able to pencil in probably a Missouri, right? You got them at home. Ole Miss, the question is going to be about Simmons. Can Simmons be that guy? Can he be electric in an offense? Which I think that he could be proficient. I think he could be efficient as a passer and all the rest of that. But defensively, we don't really know what they're going to be because they've lost everybody. So those are 2 games right there that you're just like, hey, you should win those games, Brent. But when you go and look at an LSU, a Bama, those are 2 games that you say you got to win at least one of them. Tennessee, South Carolina, you should win. You can go and win that South Carolina.
You need to beat South Carolina. It's a daytime game, and they're not as good as they were a year ago.
The Tennessee game, you controlled that game defensively. Your defensive line outplayed their defensive line last year. You controlled the line of scrimmage. It wasn't the offensive line. It wasn't all. It was turnovers. It was key turnovers in significant spots. Obviously, you could say, yeah, we gave up a couple of big chunk plays. But how many we left a lot of points on the field that game.
We did. If they pull Jackson Arnold out of that game earlier than they did, even if they just pull him out before he does that last stupid backwards pass, turns into a fumble, that had he handed it to Javonte Barnes, Javante's still running. You know, that it was wide open. I mean, the kid couldn't even read. I mean, hell, you heard Gabe and Teddy talking about it. The kid, he can't count to 6. He can't count to 6. The guy's in the box and know whether to hand that ball off or not. And they ran that fucking offense for him, which is the weirdest thing ever. But in the end, I'm just telling you, I think that even if Mateer were to get hurt for a couple of games, I don't think that you lose a ton going to Michael Hawkins now that he's being coached up a little bit and they have a scheme that makes some sense.
No, I'm with you, but it does increase. I mean, again, it depends.
I'm not telling you that he's going to come in and
it increases the level of difficulty, right? I mean, depending upon the game, time of the season.
It depends. Yeah,
it depends on when it happens.
I think
what OU's been doing. Does OU, because if you go back and watch the highlights of the non-conference gimmies last year, right?
Yeah.
And you just watch it. The offense is just even when the the first game, the points are a mirage, right? It's defensive points, it's punt, it's short field.
He had 120 something yards passing for all those touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, he's not, the offense just wasn't clicking at all. So that's what we want to see, right? I mean, I still strongly maintain that the number one reason they hired Arbuckle is because Brent knew that he could hit the ground running, and the key assistants Brent trusts, Brent, Biedenbaugh, Emmett Jones, DeMarco, and, Joe John, all could integrate quickly with what he wants to do, right? Right? That, that Bill basically knows the moment Arbuckle shows him film of his offense, done, I got it. I know what I'm doing the next 9 months, right? I know what I'm doing the next 9 months in terms of development and blocking schemes, and I know everything I'm doing, as opposed to last year, he didn't know until 12 hours before the game what the fuck was going on.
Hold on, so jump in here real quick. This is a great comment right here too. I can't talk about Kevin Wilson enough. I think Kevin Wilson's going to be a guy that can literally come in and he can basically be the calm to the storm. He can come in there and just calm things down and say, "Hey, this is what we need to do." Yes,
right.
He could
run the damn football.
Yeah, not only that, just to finish his point, but not only that, but it's just one of those things where we're saying run the damn football, this and that. No, fuck that. Let's talk about him actually being in that room to actually be a voice of reason to say, hey, we can attack this team that way as well. Here's our plan A. Here's our plan B, having true plans and having cohesiveness with the offense to help build that scheme for that week. That's what I think I'm excited about, because you really didn't have the checks and balances there with a Levy for somebody to tell Levy stop running the damn ball, not just on the field, but in the locker room, to be able to go tell him at halftime, be able to go tell him up there. So now it's not necessarily just the gimmicky, we're going to just keep pounding and keep pounding. Statistically, it was great, but there were times, OSU, Kansas, where it just left you feeling like, what are we really doing? These 50 seconds.
Yeah, even in game planning and certain things like that. And like you were talking about before, I mean, I think, Chris Mason, you were just saying, we've heard about stuff that he kind of got in the middle of Joe John's ass. Mm-hmm. That he's got, what the hell have you done with this room?
And I'm not on the Joe John Finley membership fan bandwagon. You guys have been on this podcast. We've been as critical as anyone, right?
We absolutely have.
As anyone. But he landed Ruxer
But he wasn't going to do that before Kevin got here.
Yeah, right. So, he landed Ruxer, and I heard that during the camp stuff, Joe John was as engaged as he's ever been coaching up tight end prospects and tight end kids. Everyone said they couldn't believe that he just looked much better.
He's like a quality control guy, right? It almost feels like he's a quality control for the coaches.
And Joe John and Wilson coached Joe John. He recruited Joe John.
I know.
He basically can say, "Look, kid."
Joe John and Jermaine.
Yeah, hey, kid. Look, So I think Wilson will have a big role. And you just look back at our scores. What we gave up 24 points to Ole Miss at home in Oxford, right? Mm-hmm. And that's Jackson Dart, the first round quarterback, basically. And they've got their better offensive weapons, and we held them 24 points.
Yeah,
we're not going to do that to Austin Simmons and those new guys, in Norman.
That's where I feel like if they don't, unless you just had literally the same kind of injuries that you had a year ago, which I don't foresee really happening.
Brent is completely flawed as a game.
That's what I'm saying. It's either that or Brent probably does need to go.
Guys, look.
All right.
Y'all got us all riled up talking about this. Let's switch it, because
let's talk shit about somebody else. I
was gonna say, look, we got two last topics.
Begin.
We got two main topics two remaining topics to discuss. One of them's gonna be fun that we'll save for the end, and then the other one is just, Jason, what was your takeaway from day one of SEC Media Days? I got nothing. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
I left.
I think it's a bunch of whining, a bunch of the same. We're getting more of this. Well, I shouldn't say whining. I think it's a bunch of covering for why they don't want to go to the 9-game schedule, is what you heard a lot of. And by the way, if you're one of the people that's yelling for that, you need to pay attention to the fact that Oklahoma's playing 9 teams that are ranked in a top 25 right now, a preseason top 25. 9. Now, do I think all 9 of them are top 25? No, I don't. But at minimum, they're going to play 7. Okay?
Yeah.
They're going to play 7. On top of that, you've got 5 or 6 teams in the SEC that are playing 10 Power 5 games, Power 4 games. 10. I don't give a shit about the FCS cupcake at the end of the year and everything else. Unless you're going to actually start, I understand what the questions are about that. Unless you're going to start making the strength of schedule matter, then why in the fuck should they go sign up for another loss? Playing an SEC game. Why should they? Why should the ACC, for that matter? I mean, think about it. There's a lot of rivalries that are protected by state legislatures in that area, man. You're not getting rid of Georgia Tech. You're not getting rid of South Carolina, Clemson, or Miami and or Florida State, Florida. You're not. Those things are going to happen every year.
Or
you're not going to get.
Or you end up like USC, where everybody's saying, "Hey, I'm pulling all my money out of y'all. Y'all better keep that game.
Yeah,
y'all better keep that game."
No, exactly. That's the whole point. And so, to me, look, you can sit and have this conversation and argument, but that's what they were all talking about. And I knew this is what was coming. They're gonna play cover our ass all the way through this. And the reason is because the SEC is the big bad SEC right now. Everybody is pointing everything at the SEC. I mean, for whatever reason, the Big 12 thinks that they want to go to the 5-11 playoff format instead of the 4-4-2-2. You go to the 5-11 and you are destined for the next 6 years to only get one each year.
So
in the Big 12. You're champion, that's it.
So just piggybacking off of that real quick, I do want to make a comment. Hey, York Meyer, York Ball, York Dumbass, whatever you want to call yourself up there at the Big 12. This is all I got to say to you.
What is he doing?
I wouldn't say what is he doing. I would say I get it. It's very idealistic what you're trying to do. But once you lost OU and Texas, I'm just going to be real with you. I don't know what 2 teams y'all keep talking about. I don't know what 2 teams you guys keep thinking are going to be able to make the Big 12 the way it was last year. To be honest with you, and as an OU fan, I'll say this: Texas should have never played Clemson at home. Texas should have never had to play. That should have been a Clemson, Arizona State game. Arizona State wins, okay, I give it to them. That should have never been a neutral site game in the first place. That should have been probably Texas and Clemson at that neutral site to kind of see where it was at, maybe even that game up. But, I mean, my thing is I just don't know. Big 12 really, they're all coming off as used car salesmen really trying to sell a dream and sell a pitch to you on a car that has 90,000 miles.
Except for the ones that are half-ass smart. I mean, you hear some of these guys going, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
I left the Big 12. I left the Big 12 media days thinking to myself, I don't really know what Gundy and OSU have. But to stay back, to pivot back to the SEC media days, I would say, I think Lane showed a lot of maturity today, really just talking about stuff. He was calmer than what he usually is.
No, I was expecting much more, wasn't he?
And I would say the Vanderbilt coach was, it comes off as a really, really engaged and very just a really intelligent guy.
Down to earth a little bit because he wasn't doing the Diego Pavia.
Yeah, you're really rooting for him. And I mean, Shane Beamer gives the same speech every year, just different words. I mean, let's just be honest with you. I mean,
he's such a clown, dude. He's such a clown.
I'm eager to see South Carolina this year. I want to see South Carolina
with all the hype, right? Everybody hyping them up. I mean, I heard someone saying Lenore Sellers is like the best quarterback in college football. I'm like,
I like Lenore Sellers an awful lot. I don't think that he's going to be able to carry the rest of that program. They lost an awful lot.
Can he stay healthy too? I mean,
that's part of it. But I mean, I think that the assumption is that the big receiver didn't run track, and so now all of a sudden he's going to turn into that guy. Well, Mazeo Bennett, who's Coach I's nephew, he had a really good freshman year. But if you start throwing a bunch of balls to what's his name, then you're probably going to drop off. Where's their running game? They don't have who's their running back? Who's their offensive line? I don't know.
I picked up a kid from the portal that was pretty. I mean, they're going to be a really salty team. And when I say take the next
their defense is what took a step backwards, though, because they lost a lot of the interior of that D line.
And I get that, but what I'm saying is, with all this hype and everything, Jason, just hear me out on this. Okay. What they have to do is what we were just talking about with OU. When you go against you're better than Tulane, you're better than Temple and all the rest of these teams. Right. Blow them the hell out. Don't go to overtime.
They've looked a little wobbly out the gate.
Yeah, out the gate. They're always
James Madison. Yeah.
22 to 18, 21 to 18 games against Old Dominion and stuff like that. Like, go ahead and actually show us that you're taking the next step instead of us saying, oh yeah, 9-3 is probably the highest y'all can go. Like, we know you're going to play good football, but I mean, that's just
going to be that one or two games that you watch, they shit all over themselves, and then you watch Shane Beamer act like a fucking moron in the press conference.
Yeah,
it's cute whenever you win. It isn't when you don't.
So I mean, the thing is I think with the teams today, I mean, obviously Brian Kelly really, I mean, it just is what it is. His interviews are always kind of train wrecks to me, but I mean,
I got a question for you about BK. Do you think he's in trouble if they don't make the playoff this year?
No, I don't, because I think that what I've always said was that, LSU needs structure and they need you're not going to – LSU right now is not in a position to try to go get a up-and-comer or things like that. There's not necessarily a hot name out there. I mean, there could be. But my thing is that you're not too many teams are gonna throw away 9-3 in the class that they could potentially bring in, and they went all in this year. So I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, he produced a Heisman. He's been somewhat successful, not necessarily getting them to the playoffs yet, but it's one of those things where, I mean, for him as well. 0-3, 0-4 or whatever in the last however many games that openers or whatnot. So I mean, he's got to go out there.
And they've been finding unique ways to lose those openers too.
Yeah, he's got to go to Clemson at night, and Death Valley. So that's
I have a hard time believing that you're not gonna you don't win a single opener in 4 years and you miss the playoff and they're not sick of it. I mean, he doesn't fit their culture. He makes excuses all the time. They don't give a shit about his excuses down there anymore.
That season could go south.
They don't need BK to recruit those guys. That's the point.
No. I mean, to double back, I mean, the biggest sign that Lincoln Riley was a dumbass is he didn't take the LSU job. Right? Yeah. That he didn't lie. He just didn't say at that Oklahoma State press conference. Carrie Murdoch asked him, "Are you going to LSU?" His dumbass mistake is not saying, "Shit, yes, I'm taking the LSU job. Look at all the freaking talent in Louisiana. Yeah, I'm taking it."
He's shitless of the SEC.
Yeah, well, that's his own. Well, now he's found himself He's now found himself the fifth best program in the Big Ten. That's being generous.
If they're that, yeah.
To be generous. But yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm going to ask you guys just real quick before we get to our next topic. Just off the cuff. Your top 5 SEC, the top 5 teams, how you think they end in the SEC. I mean, I know we got no info on a whole bunch of teams. So I'm going to go, I think Georgia, just because I've at least seen their quarterback play. I think I would probably go Bama next. I'm going to go with LSU for right now, and then I would go Texas. And I don't know.
You better say it.
I'll go with OU. Let's fuck it.
Look, I'll flip mine and say this right here. So I'll go Georgia, Bama. I would throw. You saying top 5 teams? I'll say Georgia, Bama.
Yeah.
I think for now, just because it's me, call me a homer if you want. I'm gonna go OU. I'm gonna go LSU. I'm gonna go Texas. I think those are the 5 teams right now that are presently built, are ready to go and kind of take that next step as far as that's
number 5 though. You got Texas at 5.
Yeah,
I got Texas at probably 5 as well. I'm gonna go with. I've got Alabama number 1. I think Alabama's gonna win the league. I think that LSU. I'm telling you that I think that Georgia's falling out. I'm just gonna let you know now. I think Georgia's falling.
Yeah, not a lot of people are big on Gunnar Stockton. That's gonna be an interesting presser right there because Kirby Smart.
Look, it was not about Carson Beck last year.
Mm-mm.
It was a little bit about Carson Beck. A little bit.
I mean, it was more or less about the receivers.
It was more about that offensive line. That they had receivers that couldn't catch a cold, and an offensive line that wasn't even keeping him upright. And you've got. He still had 3,000 passing yards, and he still. I mean, come on, man.
Well, he's gonna. Everyone says he's gonna bounce back in Miami. He's gonna tank in Miami. Calling it air. So I guess if I want to swap some things out, can I swap out
5 or what?
Can I swap out LSU for Florida?
Oh, whoa.
The reason I didn't have Texas in my list is I think they lose in Columbus and they lose in Gainesville, and Arch is beat up behind a rebuilt offensive line.
Yeah,
they wander into Dallas in a very different mental state than they've been the last couple of years.
I've got the reason I've got Texas at 5 is they're going 8-4. They're gonna come into the Red River game with 2 losses. They're leaving with 3, and then they're gonna lose a game at the end of the year.
Well, they're gonna go to Athens.
Whether it be to Georgia on the road, I don't know. I've been saying that I think that they beat Georgia, so that would be the game that knocks them out. But they will lose to Arkansas or A&M. Watch them do it.
Yeah, I can't put. There's a lot of A&M love out there, which I just don't
I'm not saying I love A&M either. I'm telling you that I think that. Here, let me just do my top 5. It's going to be Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma. I mean, yeah, I guess Florida, Texas, because I think Florida's going to beat them. I think Florida's better than a lot of people think they are.
I stand by mine. Fuck, no. I trusted. I put my trust.
Like Billy. You don't like Billy. I
put my trust. No. If you're gonna watch the SEC Connect and all these other places, I have vouched for Billy Napier. I think Billy Napier is an awesome coach, but it just has not worked. And this time, I'm not
forgetting Georgia, man. Not forgetting Georgia.
All right, here let me go to the next topic real quick. Yeah, this is the one we were talking about in the text. People, this is what's going to close us out. So, ESPN wanted to have some fun. Now this is questionable. I get it, but you're going to start one, you're going to bench one, you're going to cut one, okay? Obviously, we could go like this right here. I wanted to base it off of just your thoughts, your raw emotions, because I know what it's going to look like is most impactful, most outstanding, most impressive first year, most potential. Obviously, all 3 won a Heisman. That's the common denominator, but they did it in different ways. Bake is Bake. Kyler was just, it's outstanding, truly generational. You could say generational with these two, but you could say you got to say generational with this guy. From high school to college to NFL, not only that, but picked in the inside in the top 10 of the MLB draft. I mean, come on now, let's be real. So, with that being said, start one, bench one, cut one. Jason, let's go.
Start one, bench one, cut one. Yeah, bye, Caleb.
Trojan always. Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
Cut Caleb. It's Baker and it's Kyler Baker. It's Baker Kyler. It's Baker.
Chris Mason.
Well, he only played 1 year in Norman, so you got to cut his ass.
Kyler only played 1 year in Norman.
Yeah,
well, I'm cutting you too then. So
Kyler went to the playoff at least and won. And
both Baker and Kyler had playoff
the greatest single season in college football history to that point.
Yeah, so I'll go cut Caleb and if it's truly, I think if it was actually equally head to head, I actually think Kyler is who you start and you bench Baker
at Oklahoma.
If they had truly competed equally head to head against each other, I'm not sure. You don't start Kyler and bench Baker.
I think if you're talking about athleticism, talent wise, and all that kind of stuff, I can understand what you're talking about. But there's not a competitor like Baker Mayfield in the.
Oh no! I mean, we're talking. You know, you've got. You know, if you've got.
And I love me some Kyler. I love me some Kyler Murray.
I'm just trying to be different here because the obvious one is obviously Baker. I mean, he's shotgunning beers at his charity golf tournament the other day. You know, but I would if you depending upon what your O line looked like. And your other assets, I might go Kyler over Baker, but that's the only real debate.
Listen, I mean, the thing about Caleb Williams is
we have three. I mean, let's just be honest.
He was better. He got worse as he went along.
If he's a Norman for 3 years, guys, we're in a playoff game. We're in a playoff game in 2023.
Let's make this harder, okay? Let's go with what Chris Mason said, okay?
All right.
Get rid of Caleb. Everybody in the chat, get rid of Caleb. Sam Bradford, okay? Sam Bradford, Kyler Murray, and Baker Mayfield. Start one, bench one, cut one. Let's make it hard on people, man.
Okay, I'm not going first on this. Y'all go ahead.
Chris Mason, go ahead, man.
Am I cutting?
For the record, I do not hate Caleb Williams, just so everybody understands.
Benji, nobody's hating on him. Nobody's hating on Caleb.
Guys, it's Caleb Williams versus two guys with fucking statues outside our stadium.
Yeah.
Of course he's getting cut.
We didn't make this. This was ESPN.
It's not Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and Jake Sills. I mean, I cut Sam.
Yeah, what do you expected? Would you expect?
Hold on. You said you cut Sam?
Cut Sam. Bench Kyler. Start Baker. I don't know. That's it. I mean, maybe it's still the need. Maybe it's not seeing Murray past 2008 that I'm like that. That's why I'm cutting him. I mean, the real tough one would be like Nate Hibble. Landry Jones and Dylan Gabriel. That would be like a tough one. Like, who the hell are you starting?
Don't start that shit.
Look, he said, "No way, I'm cutting Sam."
I don't know if I'm cutting Sam either, man. That's hard. But I don't know. But who do you cut then? Who do you cut?
You're cutting Kyler. You tell Kyler to go play for the A's, right? Go play for the A's.
There ain't no.
I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
I don't know. That's tough, man, because Sam, as accurate and all the rest of that as he was, I mean.
He didn't win a lot of games that we felt like they should have won.
The only two games that I ever really saw Kyler kind of struggling. I mean, obviously, like you could maybe throw in the Texas game, but I mean, that Bama game, the national championship, but I mean, they really caught fire in the second half. And then obviously Texas Tech with those two early interceptions, but I mean, he went on a run after that.
He wore their ass out after that.
That's I don't know, man. I think in my heart of hearts, I'm probably still going. I'd probably start Kyler. I would bench Baker, and then I would probably go ahead and cut. I mean, I would have to at that point. I just don't know.
I think I would. I think I have to cut Sam. That's wild to think about.
That's like some recency bias and probably going on. Plus,
I don't think it is recency bias, man. I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I don't. I think that he lost games. He lost some games that Baker didn't really lose.
That's true. I mean, in 08 though.
Listen, and in 08 they had a defense.
When
put Baker on that team that loses to Florida, and does that happen? No.
Well,
Well, what?
Well,
Fuck we talking about?
A warrant on Percy Harvin, and we don't lose that football game.
A fucking warrant on that safety that nailed him, Manny Choi.
Elmo Black, who blew
out of his ass.
blew
Oh
up
my
Manny
Lord.
Iglesias, blew up Iglesias.
Jeez.
I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, just that's one of those. I don't know what Baker wouldn't have known what to do with that kind of offensive line, because it was even better than the 17 line, right?
Mm.
Player to player, do we think that's a better line? I think it is.
Oh, what about this question right here? How about this to end the show? Who had the best arm? Now, Top Girl says Sam had the best arm, most accurate arm. Maybe we could say most accurate, but best arm, I don't know.
It wasn't the best arm.
I think Kyler may have had them.
Kyler had the best arm.
It was some hello, how you doing bombs that he was throwing. That play where that RPO where he threw that first deep connection that he had with Hollywood and Iowa State, hit him in stride. I was like, man, that's a ball right there. That's whenever I was like, hey, Kyler, Hollywood, all those guys, they were never waiting on balls from Kyler.
True.
No, I mean, Kyler has the best arm, so it's
Kyler had the best arm. I saw him throwing strikes from the freaking warning track, man.
I mean, so if you give me the an awesome OU roster, and I need you to go win one football game, I'm taking Baker, right? I think we are.
Yeah.
Right?
He's that guy. He's the competitor to where he's not. Listen, when you start talking athleticism, he's a great athlete. He's not the athlete that Sam is, Caleb is, or Kyler. None of them.
No.
But he was that dude. You can't teach winner. You can't coach him into being a winner. He's a winner.
Yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous
Sam
that
did
we
not
have
have the best arm, Dave.
It's ridiculous we have these three guys to talk about, right? I mean, most programs don't have these three guys. I mean, LSU has two of these guys.
Yeah, and no championships between the three is sucky.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, hold on. I got a point. I got one last point, and then we out of here. Maybe Baker is. Maybe Kyler is. No. Look, this is what I say. Out of all three of them, when I watch them, and I know it's different eras, kind of different time, because even between like Kyler and Baker, it was like just a year apart, but still, this is what I would say right here. When you kind of get to, close to those SEC teams that they played kind of in those championship games or whatnot, Baker kind of had the best performance out of all of them.
He did.
And you could say that Florida team was nice.
Heisman dude 3 times.
Yeah, you can say that Florida team was really nice, but man, that Georgia team was really stacked as well. I mean, that was a hell of a defense and Baker was torching them, especially that first half.
Yeah, if Lincoln doesn't take his foot off the gas, I mean, forget the squib kick, but if he doesn't take his foot off the gas, they win by 40. They win the Natty that year if not for Lincoln, then the way he called that.
I don't think Bake's flu didn't help. I think his meds ran out, and that's why he was so sluggish in the second half.
But you saw the way that the flow changed in that game. I was in the stadium. I'm sure you were too. I'm telling you, man.
All right.
You could feel the difference in that joint.
Right. I mean, for 08, if we have DeMarco, right, we win that game easy.
True.
And if the play calling,
Sam couldn't do it by himself, though.
Yeah, but no, I mean Sam. But that's the way that offense was. I mean,
that's true.
I mean, if Sam had CD and Marquise Brown, in 08, that would have been different. So of course, I think Mark Andrews and Gresham's probably a push, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris Mason, that comment right there.
That's real. That one hits there, Jesse. That's a bar. That's a bar, Jesse.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
I don't even remember who the quarterback was that game for them. Was it Jake Fromm? All I remember was
it was
Jake Fromm.
Yeah, Sony Michel and
it was Sony Michel and Nick Chubb that broke their foot off.
I mean, straight up. But we should have won that game, and then played Bama tight enough that they wouldn't have subbed in Jalen Hurts for what's his name?
Ty always, shout out to Ty around the table sports, but Ty always he would tell us like, hey man, like, word was that Bama, if Bama had to play you guys, Bama was probably gonna shock the world and start 2 that game, because they knew offensively that would be, if y'all got hot, that'd be the only way they could stay with you guys, because Jalen just
that would have been fascinating. That's a fascinating, what if moment. But I mean, again, the 08 team, if the 08 team had gotten a semifinal to get hot again offensively and then played Florida in a final, they would have won that game. They were flat because of the break and the time Florida had to get ready for the no huddle. Yeah. Teams don't have that advantage any longer. Sure. So they wouldn't have had that advantage any longer. So Florida wouldn't have been able to dedicate 4 weeks to getting ready for the OU no huddle, which is what they basically did.
And you got to think about that the Natty team from the 99, the Natty team, bro. It may be the best OU defense ever.
That back seven was absurd.
Fucking retarded good.
Absurd. Don't do that. Look.
Retarded good.
Rocky and Marshall were just the second half of the season were on a heater.
They were, and look, Teddy was a freshman and was killing it.
And Jimmy Wilkerson off the edge.
They were just that good.
And that nickel five of Ante, Williams, Thatcher, Strait, and pre-accident Michael Thompson was just they were. I just watched the highlights of that game today. They dropped 5 interceptions in that game. If you go back and watch it, they should have had like 6 picks of Winky, and it wouldn't have even been close. Yeah, it was.
Well, the only points they got was off of the safety that they did that they put it out of reach. It was over.
Yeah, but I mean, it's. Hype's arm was a noodle at that point.
Yeah. Hey, I love Hype. By the way, I mean, Hype is another one of those dudes. He was just a gamer.
Yeah, I mean, and we were running an offense, and no one was quite ready for it. Like, I mean, year 1, they were like, "Oh, what is OU doing?" And year 2, "Oh, they're still doing that? Oh, what the hell?" Yeah, I mean, if you've not, so I'll end with this, because then guys, I'll be back to podcast in about 10 days. I'm going away doing a family trip. I might be able to record my own podcast.
Rain in your life or what?
Sorry?
Going to go get some rain in your life?
I live in Atlanta. It's been like a swamp here for like the last 90 days. But yeah, I'm going to go get some. I'm going to go get some. Go back to the homeland. But I'll leave you with this. So I don't know who it is, but on YouTube, the guys did a simulation of the OU Michigan game in the new NCAA 2026 game.
I saw that video pop up.
Yeah,
watch that shit.
But it's funny though. I just watched. I just put it on while watching some of the soccer that's been going on, and it was hysterical because Mateer passed for 400 yards. Burks had 200 yards receiving, and Ott had 5 touchdowns and 150 total yards. I know you put up 44 on Michigan. It was just, I'm like, I'll take that.
OU was really fun playing in that game. But hey, look, guys, we about to go. But I'll say this right here: I'm
giving away a couple of copies of that game if we hit 5,000 on my channel before the season starts.
Go ahead. So. Hall of Fame college football podcast with Jason and the coach. Please go check that out. Like, subscribe, do all those different things. Sooners 360 with Chris Mason. Like, subscribe, go do all those different things. Share the video. Horns Down podcast. But I will say this right here: it is amazing that we could talk about Caleb Williams being at OU, a Kyler Murray, a Baker Mayfield, a Josh Heupel, a Sam Bradford, and Texas All they have to say is Tyrone Swoops, David Ash. You can say Vince Young, you throw in Colt McCoy, but when you start going back down, I mean, you just like, okay, well, that's only two because we got David Ash, Tyrone Swoops. Oh, Sam Ellinger, OP. Yeah, you got him in there. And then you got Quinn. So now you guys are basically squeezing the balls of Arch Manning, hoping that he can be that guy. Benji, Bevo's bodyguard. Salutation.